I'm Louis Eisen, and this is the Policy Brief. I don't believe that policies should be combative and aggressive. They shouldn't sound like angry parents talking to bad children. They need to sound like adults talking to adults.
Listen to the tone of voice in this financial policy taken from a university, and I've taken care to hide the name of the university so as not to embarrass them. There must be an approved source of funding, and these must conform in all respects to terms and conditions. It's very aggressive. In Policy Brief number 4, I explained that one reason they sound as aggressive as they do is because of the way we learned to make policies. Basically, we learned to make rules as children, and we've adopted our parents' tone of voice when we make rules. But that's only part of the story. Another reason that the policies sound as aggressive as they do is because they're a product of an incomplete regulatory framework. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at what a complete regulatory framework looks like. I'm going to use the traffic laws as an example because actually they got that one down pat. A complete regulatory framework has 3 parts, and policy making is only one of them. At the top of the triangle is something with sovereignty. This is the person at the top who decides we need some rules. It could be the boss, the board of directors. In the case of the traffic laws, it's the government. The government decides that it needs to set up a framework for setting speed limits on the highways. So it sets up 2 things. The first is it says to the municipalities, you guys are allowed to set the speed limits. So the municipalities each set up a team of experts to go and decide how fast we're allowed to drive on every road, and to post a sign on every road telling us what the speed limit is. These people are the equivalent of the financial experts or IT experts or security experts that you would have in your own organization making policies. These people don't care a whit how these speed limits are going to be enforced. Their responsibility is to come up with a defensible speed limit for each road using their expertise. Period. So where does enforcement come from? You know where enforcement of the speed limit comes from. It's a totally different group. These people are specially equipped to do enforcement. They are given the tools, the power, and the authority to do what we would call policy enforcement in an organization. They don't care a whit why any particular road is marked at a speed limit of 40, 50, or 60. That's not their business. All they care about is enforcing the policy that's set. This is a complete regulatory framework. Sovereignty, a set of rule makers, and a set of enforcers. But what many organizations do is they give the job of policy enforcement to the people who make the rules. And that would be fine if you also gave them the tools, powers, and authorities required to do enforcement. But most organizations don't do that. In fact, most organizations expect these people who are policymakers to do the enforcement using only the tools they have. And what tools are those? Those are words. So what they end up doing is making their policy sound as strict and enforceable as possible. All employees must never do this, or we're going to tell them again. Doesn't exactly have a lot of teeth to it, does it? Often what happens is that management comes to this group of policymakers. Again, there's no enforcement, but says to them, the problem is that you haven't communicated your policies well enough and people don't understand them. Well, in my mind, that's the equivalent of saying to the people who set the speed limits, the reason we have speeders is because there aren't enough signs on the road telling you what the speed limit is. So we should put signs on every single pole so that people don't forget. The funny thing is that many businesses, and certainly almost every branch of government, has a team to look after enforcement. It could be called a business improvement team or an audit and valuation team or program evaluation team. It could even be the HR group, because somebody who doesn't follow office policies is an HR problem. When you have a complete regulatory framework, we don't have to resort to aggressive sounding language in order to get people to be compliant. Well-written policies are part of a complete regulatory framework, and you need all three pieces to make it work. A lot of the information comes from my book, Respectful Policies and Directives, which you can get online or at any bookstore. I hope this has been useful for you. Please feel free and leave a comment. And if you think there's somebody you know who might benefit from this, share it around.